Told you I'd be back. I got interrupted this morning, so I had to run, had to do some work, but now I've got a spare couple of minutes, so I'm going to finish off the SitRep for today. I'm sure you're all just sitting there waiting with bated breath. Waiting with absolute bated breath for me to come back. And it's been half the day. Yeah. Technical difficulties, so everything's working. It's fine. All right, so when last we spoke, I was speaking about pandemic stuff. Both US and Germany came out and said, hey, this pandemic's not over. Then Kim Jong-un came out and said, this pandemic is just starting in North Korea. We've got one case in North Korea. They're locking it down. So I thought that was interesting, still getting the signals from our governments that, lockdowns abound. Great, fantastic. All right, let's jump into Europe now and let's talk about Finland. Finland is edging ever so closer to becoming part of the big NATO. They have come out and they've said the final significant step has been taken, which is their defense committee signing off on them joining NATO. So that's happening. Well, it's not happening, but it's probably the last big step. It's all bar formality now, them throwing it in, and I'm probably expecting this. If it hasn't happened, if I've missed it in the news in the past 4 hours, then I would expect it would happen probably within the next 12 to 24 hours. That they will officially be putting in some sort of let us into NATO letter. And to answer that, what are the Russians saying? Russians will be forced to take retaliatory steps, including military and technical steps to eliminate any threats posed by the entry of Finland and Sweden to NATO. So Russia has come out and they've said, we're going to do something about this. There's actually been another story that's come out that I was reading just before about this, how they're have basically threatened that they will attack and may even attack preemptively. So before the ink is dry on that signature, they're going to come in and wallop Finland. Now, will that happen? Is Russia just talking smack? I kind of think so. Russia's talking a bit of smack, and as I always like to say, don't listen to what people say, listen to what they do. So what are they actually doing? Is Russia making any moves that we can see? No, well, there hasn't been anything that's come out for them shifting any more of their forces up that area. So, we're not seeing anything else. And for them to actually move in, I think it's essentially Finland going into NATO is a fait accompli. It is done. It's just not officially done. So here's the way I would look at it. If Russia were to sneak in now and attack preemptively before they got to NATO, so they're not going to trigger off that Article 5, which would bring US into punching range of Russia, or would not force US to actually step in with their forces into Russia. I don't think that's going to happen anyway, because US has already come out and said we're giving certain security assurances to Finland, and I think I needed to go check this, but I think their actual words were as if they were in NATO already. So I don't think it matters that Finland has joined NATO or not. I think at this point now of the game, if Russia was to do anything against Finland, then it would be seen as a attack on NATO. That's how far down the road I feel they are. And I feel that they were pretty trepidatious. Finland was pretty trepidatious about coming out and saying, hey, we want to join NATO. Like they do, but they're also like, hey, we want to do this. But as we're saying this, can you give us some sort of security in the interim? And US basically said, we got you. All right. Big brother US is going to come in and we're going to punch Russia in the arm if they do anything. So, I guess that the wink, wink, nod, nod part was like, you're already part of us. You're already there. Okay, so if Russia does do anything against Finland at this point of the game, I think it is tantamount to the Article 5. If I'm saying Article 5, you have no idea what I mean by that. It's a NATO, one of the articles in NATO, and it essentially says that any country part of NATO that gets attacked, all other countries that are part of NATO have to act as if their own sovereign country had been attacked. So if Poland was attacked, US has to act as if US had been attacked. That's how Afghanistan happened. Somebody attacked the US, and the US pulled the NATO string and said, we've been attacked, so now you have all been attacked. Now come with us to Afghanistan and let's go fight the global war on terror, the GWAT. And while we're at it, all you other nations who are just friends with us can come to Australia. Come on in, come and fight. And then a young Stuart was like, yeah, I'll go do that. And I went and did it. But that's how all that happened. So the summation of this is that I think Finland and Sweden in the not too distant future after them will be coming into NATO. I don't know if Russia's going to do anything. I think there's going to be some big talking. I've been wrong in the past, though, once, many times. So, it's just a watch this space sort of thing. But I think now Finland, like the whole point, one of the key points of Russia invading Ukraine was saying, hey, we don't want NATO power to get any worse than it is. Well, it's getting a lot worse now, a lot worse from the Russian perspective, not obviously from our perspective. All right, what other news we've got here? Sanctions against Russia will not bring peace to Ukraine, but will provoke food, energy, and financial crises around the world. This is coming out of China, the Chinese deputy representative to the UN. I think the languaging on this was probably most interesting for me. That China is coming out and saying kind of exactly what I've been saying for a while now, that these sanctions aren't doing what you think they're doing. They're hurting the wrong people. They're hurting the people who are putting the sanctions on. And they're not going to bring peace to the Ukraine, not anytime soon, at least. Now, the fact is that China is now saying this. They're throwing this out to the UN saying, hey, these sanctions aren't going to work. And all you're going to do, it will provoke food, energy, and financial crises. I think you can scrub out that word will and put is. Present tense, it is doing that right now, and they're about to get a lot worse. So, China again lumping on the anti-Western rhetoric, as they have been doing quite a bit lately. Okay, what's Pelosi up to? Pelosi, that weird creature. Every time she comes on the TV or in a news story, I just look at her and just go like, something not quite right here around this whole fucking thing. But anyway, Pelosi comes out and is basically bashing on big oil, and has pitched a plan to make gas price increases illegal. Again, I'm going to reference a book called Atlas Shrugged, which I think people should read, because it's exactly this here, where they're saying, for starters, she's blaming big oil for the problems. Big oil is not the problem here. It's part of, yes, the interconnected web that is causing the problem. But what the forces that are actually causing the problem at the Bowser right now is not big oil. It's not like greedy oil executives in there, more money. Yes, we're rich. Let's squeeze them a little bit more. Now's our chance. They're going about their business. They're doing what they can do. Worldwide prices are increasing. And the main mechanism of worldwide prices increasing are sanctions on Russia, which are from the US government, and supply issues, which again, a lot of them are from the US government, who have been, even in the last 24 hours, shutting down or restricting oil being pulled out of places like Alaska and to a certain extent, some parts of Canada as well. So they're creating a problem, and then they're trying to blame the industry for the problem. Again, this is just another example of how shit governments are across the board, and how they can spin this sort of thing to make us believe that, oh no, it's actually like the greedy companies that are the problem. That's not my take on this at all. I don't, in case you haven't figured that out, I don't think the greedy companies, and the companies are greedy. Companies are in it to make money, but companies aren't in it to destroy their consumer base, which is what essentially they would do if they chose to put the prices up this high. They're actually driving people out of the market, and they're making the amount of people that can afford their product less. And when that happens, less people are going to utilize it. So if they have to take that away, they're going to find an alternative. Maybe it's electric, maybe it's a bicycle, maybe it's just not driving anywhere and walking. But that then destroys the actual fundamental base of the people who are going to buy their product. It doesn't make any sense. It'd be them cutting not their own nose off, cutting their own head off. No company would do that by choice. They watch Apple. Okay, Apple are masters at pricing. They know where to put their price, so they get X amount of people. They're not trying to get everyone on earth. They don't want everyone to own an iPhone, believe it or not. They want the right people with the right amount of money to own an iPhone. And they target those people by putting it at the exact right price point. And most companies follow suit from that. People look at what Apple does and they say, this is an example. This is an industry leader of pricing. Let's do that. So companies know that they can't just go ahead and make things $1 million because they wouldn't get any customers. And if they don't get any customers, then the long-term effect or the downpipe effect of that is that it takes a long time to actually build up a customer base again. So stuff like this, where the government is coming in and restricting a company's ability to make profit, is dastardly, absolutely dastardly. And again, I would recommend that you go and read Atlas Shrugged. It's a big book. I get it. It's like 1,000 pages long, but I think people should read it and understand what the fuck is going on in the world right now, because that's exactly what's happening right now. And we should all be buying a plot of land where we can get the producing people of the world to go and live, secreted away, and we'll just deal in gold and silver. How does that sound? If you read the book, you get it. All right. Let's jump back into the European theater. Ukraine EU membership is now unacceptable. Russians have said. Russia's gone, no, so it's off the table now. This was actually something that was on the table for quite a bit of time, and it was one of the key negotiation points. So this is showing me that negotiations here are breaking down a little bit, and that Russia has pulled this one out, because this was a big one. Russia's like, hey, look, here's what we'll give you. You can go join the EU. You can be part of that bloc. If you guys want to do that, do that. NATO's off the cards. Don't do that. But EU is on the cards. Now, apparently, it is not. They've taken that away too. Like the Russians said, no, we've had it now. That's off. So again, I'm always looking at how things seem to be faring over there. It's got bigger effects around the world, and this seems to me a step in the wrong direction that is going to increase hostilities. It's going to destabilize the area, and it's going to impede any future peace talks that are happening there in this area. So, not good signs that are coming out of that whole space at the moment. Unless you're an arms dealer, and then I was saying this to a friend yesterday. I was having a joke saying like, "Oh, I'm just going to go check my Terra Luna crypto coin." Oh my god! If you haven't been checking out what's happening in crypto at the moment, it's a freaking bloodbath in the crypto market at the moment. I think there's like $200 billion wiped out of the market yesterday alone, and one in particular, one of the ones that's seen as a stable coin. Is at like 8% of what it usually is. So decimation there in that sort of market. But like a lot of markets are down. A lot of markets are sort of feeling the pinch at the moment. Even gold and silver is down at the moment. And I said the only thing I would be seriously investing in if I was so minded to do so would be Lockheed Martin or something like that. Like people who are making military paraphernalia, weapons and tanks and planes and stuff like that. I think it's their payday. The last 2 years has been the pharmaceuticals, the big pharma payday, and I think we're about to see the military industrial complex payday coming in. In fact, Lockheed Martin, who make Javelin missiles, just signed some contracts to make a lot of them. Anyway, I'm not investing in them, but if you want to, you go do that. I'm not going to impede your ability to make money on whatever you want. You fucking warmonger. Think about what you're doing to the world. Do whatever you want. I'm going to invest in the following things: self-education, knowledge of basic skills, of fundamental skills, things like I'm currently looking at courses in traditional timber frame building because I want to learn how to actually fell trees, mill them up myself, and build structures from said trees. That's what I want to do. That's my next sort of project in the next probably 6 months. That's my little target, amongst many other things. But as far as investment goes, this is where I'm thinking about putting my time and my money and my effort. So these are the sort of things that I think you should be thinking about. So sure, go and invest in Lockheed Martin if you want to. Become part of that system. Make money if you so wish to do by doing that. But my recommendation is that if you want to put your money towards something that is very good, then start investing in yourself, investing in educating yourself, investing in the skills that you might need if we don't have the systems around us that we have right now. Invest in ways to protect yourself and your family. Invest, certainly, again, as I will always say, in ways to feed you and your family and to make sure that they have clean drinking water. These are the most important things. And then shelter as well. And that's what I was talking about with the timber frame building course that I'm looking at doing, is shelter, essentially. Can I construct shelter for myself? Can I do it for my family? Can I do it for others around me? So that's my little thought for the day, my little rant for the day. The last thing I'm just going to touch on is a story. As I say, these stories are interesting to me and me alone. Judge rules that calling men bald can be deemed as sexual harassment. I don't mind being called bald. I actually shaved my head because my hair was thinning, but I shaved my head, and it's my own choice too. My dad, for many years growing up, had a massive comb over, and I always refused to do it. I will not have a comb over. So I shaved my head. Anyway, I just thought it was funny because I'm a bald guy. So it was interesting to me. Sexual harassment by calling men bald. Is this the world we want to live in, really? Is this what we want to do? Is this how we want to spend our time? There's a whole heap of other stories about from Calvin Klein coming out with ads with pregnant men and stuff like this. And I just look at this sort of stuff and I'm like, I'm getting the aneurysm is coming back. Thanks, Lauren. Yeah, so where we put our thoughts is what actually grows in this world, and it's this sort of stuff that pops up where I'm like, man, there are some people who are obviously really worried about this, worried about being called bald, worried about fighting against other people. But this is yet another example of what I call the overwhelming victim mentality of our society, where we exonerate the victims. We say, oh, you're the biggest victim. And then that makes other people look at that and go like, oh shit, how do I be a victim? Hey, I'm also hurting here. I'm a victim. Oh, look how bad this is. And it just becomes this race to the bottom where everyone's racing towards victimhood. And one of the things that I want to promote in the world is that we don't do that. Yes, we are victimized sometimes. Yes, bad things do happen to us, and it is very sad, and we should sympathize or be compassionate towards other human beings, definitely. But where possible, I try and avoid going into that too much. It is as in identifying with a victim and saying like, oh, please help me out because I'm a victim. If I need help, I'll ask for it, definitely. But I want to try and promote the other side of things, that we are self-reliant human beings, that we can stand on our own feet and that we can look after ourselves and those around us. That's primarily what I'm trying to get across in the world. So, yeah, if that's something that resonates with you, then I feel connected to you, and I really would like to hear you put it out into the world as well. I want to see more people who are just actually promoting strength in the world, the ability to stand up, because what I feel we're coming into is a place where our environment might be actually more difficult. And if we've got people who are used to being in that sort of victim mentality, in that race towards the bottom, well, we've got a society that's strong and that can hold people like that. If we don't have that system, then this can't exist, or it should not exist at least. What we actually need then is the individual, the people, to stand up. All right. Anyway, that's my rant for today. I didn't know if I was going to get to that this morning, but yeah, obviously I got interrupted this morning. Apologies if you were watching this morning and all of a sudden I was like, oh, gotta go. But that happens sometimes, and that's the nature of my life and my work. That's how I earn my crust, is by being ready to react and adaptable to the situation. I'll put it that way in the broadest way. Bald guys are so sensitive. I know, right, Ryan? We can't all have that long, luscious, flowing hair that you had and then shaved off. Ryan, the main Barackov. Yes, he was like a man lion with his long, flowing locks. Kind of like Samson, though. Once he cut all his hair off, he was just kind of weak and pathetic. Ooh, no, I'm joking. He's not. He's one of the strongest and beautiful men that I know on the face of the earth. And if people are interested in getting in touch with themselves in a masculine kind of way, then they should get in contact with Ryan Barackov, because he's a fantastic dude. Don't bother reading these, bro. Just your friends heckling each other. This is the best part of any SitRep. Is me reading out the random shit that you guys throw up on here. And I love it. I love reading it. Thanks for watching, by the way. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who jumped on and listened to my ramblings today. Again, apologies that it got cut up, but that's the way it is. So in sum, for today, a lot of ranting there about self-reliance and things like that. But that's my shtick. That's what I love talking about. That's what I love doing. Keep your eye on what's happening in the world at the moment. Keep safe out there. If you've got any questions, please feel free to send them through to me. I love answering questions about absolutely anything. Why is the sky blue? What color do Smurfs go when you choke them? No, mainly prepping questions, obviously. So if you do have any questions, pump through to me. Keep prepping, guys. Stay safe out there. Keep your eyes open. Keep situationally aware. And I will talk to you at some time that is not right now. Semper Paratus.